We're going to talk about key signatures, one of my favorite elements of music theory and fundamentals, and also something that's going to unlock so much more knowledge for you in terms of understanding how music functions and why things are the way they are. So when we're first looking at a key signature, we'll notice that we'll either have sharps there or flats there. You're not ever going to have a key signature with both sharps and flats. If we're looking at sharps, we know that the last sharp in the key signature, if we're thinking in terms of solfege, that last sharp all the way to the right is going to be T, which means that if we go one note above it, then that note will be do. If we go one note below it, that note will be la. Now, why is it important that I'm pointing both of those out? Because key signatures can either be major or minor. And that determines how the music is going to work. So when we look at this, and that's T, then we're left with one note up or one note down being do or la. Do is the tonic of a major key, and la is the tonic of a minor key. I'll say that again. Major keys are built around do. The scale starts and ends on do. Do is the most important fundamental note in major keys. But in minor keys, all of those same notes are used, but instead of centering around do, it centers around la. So instead of do, mi, so, it's la, do, mi. And simply changing how we center around la instead of do changes the identity of the music and the feeling of the key. So in sharps, we want to remember the last sharp is T, go up one to find do, go down one to find la. So in this case, we're in the treble staff. My sharp is on D sharp. So if I go up one note, I get the key of E. E major. If I go down one note, I get C. But it's also important to note that this C has a sharp on it. So that would be C sharp minor. So in this case, this key signature could be E major or C sharp minor. And typically when we write it, we're going to write a capital for the major and a lowercase for the minor. Now what about flats? Well, my last flat is not T, so don't go there. My last flat is fa. And so from there I can count fa, sol, la, ti, do, or fa, mi, re, do. I can either count up or count down. If I count up, fa, sol, la, ti, do, I get to that. If I count down, fa, mi, re, do, I get there. Now this also points out one of the other shortcuts that we can look at when we're looking at flats, which is the last flat is fa. But if you have more than one flat, the second to last flat, in this case, that one right there, the second to last flat is always do. So if you have one flat, that one's going to be fa, because it's the last one. It's the first one, it's the last one, it's the only one. But if you have more than one, look all the way to the right, that's fa, back one from that, that's do. So in this case, there's do. So if we look, fa in this case is on D flat, and if we look all the way to do, that's A, but there's a flat on it. So that would be A flat. Now we see this one is also an A, so we can confirm that's the same. But there isn't a flat here. Now what does that mean? Well, it's still flat, and here's why. In the key signature, this tells me those notes are flat, and it tells me that those notes are flat all the time, regardless of where they are. So this A, or if I went up an A or down an A, or any of those, they're all going to be flat. That's a B, and that's an E, and it says that all the B's and all the E's are going to be flat. The only way that it wouldn't be the case if I had another symbol on that note, a sharp, a flat, a natural, something like that, that changes that note to a different one. But unless I see otherwise, that key signature is going to show me that note is flat. So in this case, my do is on A flat. My la would be 2 down from that. Do, ti, la. Right here, that's my la. So in that case, that's F. And if we write it shorthand, if we don't actually write out E major, C sharp minor, if we write it shorthand, we'll write it like this. Capital major / lowercase minor. So even if you're not 100% confident in memorizing key signatures, you're not 100% confident in the way the scale is constructed, you can still identify the potential key signatures in a piece just by looking at the key signature and finding where do and la are. There is just one important note to be made. You don't know what key signature this is, as far as what key the music is in, until you actually hear the music, or at least see the music. Because the same key signature can produce both major and minor music. So in order to find out the key of an actual piece of music, you have to listen to or look at the piece of music and see, does it center around do, major? Or does it center around la, minor? And once you know that, then you can answer what key it's actually in. Until then, you get this or this, equal possibilities, could be either one, have to get more information. So with that in mind, you can start looking at key signatures and automatically start learning more about what the music has in store for you. Even though it's not certain, you at least have narrowed it down to one of 2 keys based on that alone. And in the next couple of videos, we're going to look more at how key signatures are built, how they relate to scales, and how you can build key signatures as well.